Hey, good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. It is Sunday, the 28th of April. This is my week ahead video. Usually I just do this for members. I don't have time to do charts for today. I'm going to be out. So I'm going to put this out there for free, you guys. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to join us, come over to smartoptiontrading.com, link in description below, and you can click on live trading alerts and join us for a month and see if you like what we do. All right, so let's talk about this week as we're coming up here on a pretty big week in the markets. We had a nice, pretty little bounce here at the SPY, and we're coming into a week filled with a lot of data. So we have a lot of earnings, we have a lot of economic data, and the market last week could have broken down, could have rolled over. Instead, it bounced back up and is just shy of the 50-day. So let's start on the economic front this week. So we can see here, we have on Monday is pretty quiet. We have some treasury auctions, nothing huge going on there, but we do have Chicago PMI and consumer confidence on Tuesday, both during market hours. We'll keep an eye on that. It is an employment week. All right, so ADP starts us off here on Wednesday at 8:15. We have PMI manufacturing final at 9:45, ISM at 10 o'clock with construction spending along with the JOLTS jobs numbers. And then we do have the Fed announcement and press conference on Wednesday. We'll come back to this at 2 o'clock. Thursday, not a lot. And then Friday, we have non-farm payroll. At 8:30, I'll open the room early for that, along with PMI composite final and ISM services. So let's talk about the Fed. If you're not with us, we've been saying for months now, I don't think the Fed was going to cut anytime soon. I don't expect them to change their tone here. I expect you to hear more. We still see rate cuts in the second half of the year, which they've been saying now for a bit. That means July or later, for those of you guys not really paying attention out there. And that would mean that, there's no rate cut on the table. None's expected this month, none's expected for June. I wouldn't be surprised if it's to the fall at this point. They're going to say inflation remains sticky. They, are data dependent. They'd rather keep rates higher longer than have to come back and hike them back up again. The press conference can be very key. How couches this. The one thing the market may hear that it will like is last Fed meeting, they talked very heavily about starting to slow the rate of the balance sheet runoff. And the market would love that, because while you have interest rates high, you're also running off the balance sheet. You're you're doing twice the work there. So the market will be very interested in hearing that. And that is the real thing to listen for here mid next week. On top of that, we have a huge week of earnings, and I will be focusing on earnings names. Before the open, we have SoFi and Jinko Solar on Monday morning. SoFi, I'm interested to see if they start turning around. Battle Paramount, which may or may not be up for sale. Was up for sale, but may or may not have a buyer on Monday night, along with a look at Semi and NXPI. Tuesday morning, very interested in PayPal, Lilly, 3M, McDonald's, Coke. These are big names. I want to see what they have to say. Tuesday night after the close is a big one. I'll be staying late with you guys Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, guys, for earnings. Amazon, AMD, Supermicro, Starbucks, Pinterest is in there. There's some other names in there, but those are the big ones. Wednesday morning, Pfizer, CVS Health, MasterCard, Norwegian Cruise Lines. You even have Kraft Heinz in there and some other ones. You get a look at Marriott as well. After the close on Wednesday, Qualcomm and Carvana. Both of those are very interested in. You have Etsy in there as well. Thursday morning, you have some names. You got Moderna, you got Penn, but these are not names I typically look to trade or care. Wayfair as well. And then Thursday night, Coin, Block, DraftKings, big ones. And then 4:30, Apple is the big one, which everybody's going to be focusing on. So, my plan is to trade around these names and these names this week based upon what the market's showing us, what it's currently giving us. So let's jump into here and let's take a quick look at sentiment before we jump into the markets. Sentiment-wise, we've had some minor changes here. If you look here on the I'm sorry, what am I looking at here? On the oscillator on the NASDAQ, we're plus 22. So we're on the positive side of neutral here. Okay, so, we don't worry to get over 200 or under 200. So, room to run up here if we want. On the New York Stock Exchange, we're dead neutral at +1. On the advanced decline lines, you can see they all didn't really curl up, mostly just flattened out despite Friday's strong action and comeback. Breadth is kind of in a pause. We came down, we shot back up. We're kind of chopping around here right now. We'd like to see breadth start to push back up. The NASDAQ remains very weak, and it has been for a while. The other thing I'm watching closely here are the advanced decline lines, advancers versus decliners. So you can see on Friday, 63 New companies made a new high where 95 made a new low. This here is on the NASDAQ. So we're still inverted in the wrong direction, but it's going in the right direction. We can see here we're having a more strength showing up here again, and we're seeing a slow weakening here of names making lows. New York Stock Exchange, even better here, plus 81 versus 16. So we're seeing this market start to turn in the right direction, and the put to call just about bearish neutral. Again, this is not working as well anymore ever since they changed what they're doing with the daily options. So we come in here, let's just start off real quick. Let's start off with ES, see what we open at. But again, needs to clear a 50-day on this one. The NQ also slightly weaker, needs to clear the 21-day, then the 50-day there. Crude remains strong phase again, pushing back up. We really wanted crude to weaken and get nice when we saw it under 81. We'd like to get crude back under 80. If it keeps strengthening, that's inflationary. Bonds continue to be a weak mess, cannot break and hold above the 8-day. Rates continue to go up. That remains a problem for the market. Gold, after that big down candle, trying to find its footing here. Bitcoin, all over the place, but generally doing very little here right now. The VIX saying there's nothing to see here. You could see that big move last week, and then we came crashing back in this past week. Nothing going on. HYG, this leads, the market follows. It led down, now it's been leading up, and if it starts to push, the market should go with it. The transports are not trading well. They led us up during this now. They're actually very weak. And the dollar here remains stronger. So big candle on Friday is not what we want to see there. So let's go to the SPY. For this week, very simple. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday could be choppy, quiet days. We'll react and play earnings names. The reason I say that, you got that big Fed decision. They may be waiting to see what they have to say. Bottom line is you need to clear the 50-day now. We pushed back up into this range. We're up in this area. We had our 5% pullback. We need to get above the 50-day. Above the 50-day, I think it's go time, and the market's going to run back up. That's my thesis at this point, and that's where I'm looking to trade. Okay, so that's roughly 511 area. To the downside, if you play around, you'd like to hold the 8-day until the Fed decision and see where we go from there. 505 on that. We'll see if we can hold there. You have a gap sitting here, right? You have this little gap sitting here down here that can fill if they want to go get that. Ultimately, if we come crashing down, you don't want to invalidate the low here from the 25th, right? You want a series of higher lows to try to push up. So we'll keep an eye on that. Qs, similar idea, right? Series of higher lows. We want to continue to push up there. The IWM's been trying to wake up. This needs to get back above the 21-day, and then if it does, you got to push up to the 50-day, and you have a large gap sitting here. So keep that on your radar. Energy is trying to wake up. Couldn't quite go the other day. Chevron, earnings were better, not bad, great, not bad. They were okay. ExxonMobil's were not as good. They're down. So far, the energy names' earnings have been mixed. The financials have been very strong, and this was an all-time high back here just before earnings kicked in for the banks, and you can see it's working back up. It's already above all the moving averages and now holding them. Goldman Sachs put a new all-time high in on Friday, strong move there. JP Morgan bought almost all the weakness from earnings back, strong push back up. Bank America bought it all back and then some, and Wells Fargo has been the clear leader there in that sector. So you can see what's going on there. Let's go over to the semis. The semis had a nice big bounce back right to the 50-day here. It needs to go up. You guys should note that Jensen is going to be on 60 Minutes tonight, the CEO of NVIDIA. We'll see what he has to say. That could be a catalyst to move that up tomorrow and help get the SMHs pushing. I really want to see the SMHs get back above 230, but there's a trade back up to that level for sure, 225 being first. Speaking of it, let's go into NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been a leader. Beautiful, beautiful push on Friday. Look at this 2-day move Thursday and Friday. Cleared all this range back up. 906 is your next big level to clear, and then it can really run. So we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA. That's one of my top names for this week. AMD has earnings. Might be quiet until we get that on Tuesday night. Needs to clear some levels. We'll watch that. SMCI also has earnings. I don't tend to trade this one. It's a very tough name to trade. It's very illiquid in terms of the options, but if it gets going and breaks this downtrend, gets above the 50-day, it can run as well. So the semi sector looks to be kind of wake back up. Micron in this space right here at 115 needs to clear that, then it can run back up as well. So then we're going to go to our tech names. Let's start off with Meta. We've talked a lot about Meta last week. This was overdone. It was below 400 after hours at one point. That said, should be in the penalty box here a little bit and see what it does. To the upside now, above 445.48 area, I like it for possible longs to push back into this gap, get back inside the Bollinger Band, and maybe try to reconnect with the 8-day. Look how far off it is. To the downside, it remains partially strong. You still have a little gap left to fill here. on the daily chart if it goes lower. So right now you are a tail of two gaps, so one to the upside, one to the downside. We'll see how we trade. My thesis here is if the market pushes up, this is going to come back and it's going to go up and fill this gap slowly over time. And they'll have forgotten that they guided down slightly for last earnings. That said, the market's not happy with how much money they're spending. All right, let's bring it to Google and Microsoft. Google, I mean, blowout report. Blowout report, increased their buyback, starting a dividend. Now, Meta did a dividend last quarter. Now Google's doing, typically when big tech companies do dividends, they're saying they're not growth anymore. Don't know about that. I still think they're fine. They're AI king right now, along with Microsoft, and nice move. So right now, 169.60 holds that. Everything's good. Huge move, absorbing it. Above 174.40, you're at all-time highs, and you can push above there. So see how it trades, maybe an inside day or two to let things catch up. But if it goes and wants to go, it'll take this out quickly. So, this is what they call Powers earnings gap. And if it wants to go, it won't take too long, probably to take out 174.71. Microsoft, another name, had a very good report. Not quite as good as Google's, but really good. Guidance remains strong. They're hitting it, doing well with AI. Did what it always does, closes and sells off. So Microsoft has a tendency to fill these gaps. It doesn't seem to like to go right away. It usually takes it a couple days to go. So watch to see if Microsoft wants to come down and fill this gap down to the 400 area again, and then go. It just has a tendency to do that. On the other side, if it gets above the earnings high, then you take out the 50-day and hit aim on. You're asking me gun to my head. I think Microsoft, before the next report, if the market goes, will put a new all-time high and go with the rest of the market. These are all strong names. You take those aside, guys, this week, and you see what's going on there. We'll trade around these big earnings names. We have, we talked about it. We have Apple, we have Amazon, we have AMD, you have Qualcomm. These are all going to provide opportunity. Coinbase is a big one for them this week there as well. So, my focus is going to be on these names that reported. I'm going to be focused on Meta and Microsoft and Google, and names that haven't yet, that are not reporting this week, like NVIDIA. Then once the names report, like Amazon, AMD, and Supermicro and Starbucks on Tuesday night, I'll be looking to trade them. So that's how I'm going to approach this week, and then we'll trade around the Fed, and we'll talk more about that on Tuesday. I hope you're all having a great weekend. If you want to join us, link in the description below. We run a Discord room with Zoom, and love to have you. We're a large trading group community, very cordial and very helpful to each other, and always learning. Be good. Have a great weekend.